Hey guys, so this video is on genetic drift. It's another one of our mechanisms or drivers of evolution. We're going to look at what genetic drift is throughout this video. So the learning intentions for this video is to understand how genetic drift drives evolution, and we're going to compare the founder and bottleneck effects and see how they might drive evolution over time. So far, just to recap, we looked at mutations, we've looked at natural selection. What we're looking at here is genetic drift. So genetic drift is defined as the change in allele frequency due to the chance survival of particular genes. So really, I've got a picture of a four-leaf clover because it's a little bit about luck. Genetic drift doesn't rely on who has the best trait or the fitness or mutation. It's just on the fact that some alleles by chance are able to survive over other ones. So in terms of what that actually might mean hypothetically, well, imagine you've got a tree with some ladybugs. And obviously there's some variation that might have been caused through mutation. So we've got a blue, a red, a green, and a yellow ladybug. Now we might say, if we were thinking about natural selection, we might say, well, a green ladybug has the highest fitness because they're able to camouflage, they're able to hide away from predators, maybe find their food a little bit easier. So we would expect that over time we'd have an increase in green ladybugs. Now that's when we're thinking about natural selection. In terms of genetic drift, there's a bit of luck involved. So I want you to imagine that we've got a lumberjack has come along and decided to cut down some trees. And as a result, he's completely wiped out the red and the green ladybugs. So that wasn't because they were the lowest fitness. It was just by luck that they were the ones that were eliminated, and the blue and the yellow now are the ones who are going to pass on their genes. It's not because they're the best suited. There was just a bit of luck involved in them passing it along. So as we said, some just by chance have greater offspring than others, and there's no variation it's selected for. Now, genetic drift, the smaller the population is, the greater the impact genetic drift may have. So you can see here we've got a population of look like what, beetles or cockroaches, and you can see just by chance it was the green ones that got stood on. Not because they were a lower fitness, not because brown were better suited to their environment, just by chance. Now this is a really small population. We've only got 9 beetles. So you can see we've wiped out nearly all of the green. If there was 1 million beetles on the ground, then we probably wouldn't have that big an impact on how many green beetles are left. So one of the types of genetic drift is looking at the founder effect. Now this is where a few members of a population form a new colony, and that new colony then has reduced genetic variation. So you can see here, we had an original population that had 4 different traits: red, blue, green, and yellow. Now, just by chance, the ones that founded a new population only formed from blue and red individuals. And that means our new population has a far lower variation rate compared to the original. We're missing 2 traits, green and yellow. Now, in terms of real life, this could be, for example, a population of lizards on an island, and some of them have drifted across on a piece of wood to another island and started their own population. And this actually happens in real life. Animals might get on board ships, they might be sort of separated, and that then might lead to a brand new population with much lower genetic variation. So an example in humans are the Afrikaners. They were a group of Dutch who traveled to Africa, and one of them had Huntington's disease. Now let's say normally that's 1 in 1,000, and we're going to say that 1 in 10 of them had Huntington's. If you go there now, the Afrikaner people have a much higher rate of Huntington's compared to the normal original population of Dutch settlers. So you can see that that's an example of the founder effect in the human race. The second type of genetic drift are bottleneck effects. This is where you've got a large population, all of a sudden gets reduced to a very small amount, and then that surviving population then has a much reduced genetic variation. So here you can see we've got a bottle with, let's say, 1,000 beads, and they're roughly 50-50 yellow and blue. When we've separated and only taken out a few, let's say they've been reduced in number, we can see that we've got much more blue individuals than yellow, and therefore our next generation has mainly blue. So we've reduced the amount of variation in our population. That then can have an impact on evolution. It can then impact on natural selection, and that's then going to drive our evolution down the track. An example is the island of Pingelap, and these were a population where there was a really bad hurricane that wiped out a vast majority of the population. Now, some of the surviving members had color blindness, and because there was only a few of them, and now all of a sudden there was, say, 1 in 5 compared to 1 in 1,000 that had color blindness, the population is regrown, but now a lot more of them are colorblind. So that genetic variation means that where there was not much colorblindness, now there's a lot more percentage-wise. So that's an example of the bottleneck in real life. Often things like hunting and overhunting can lead to bottlenecks. We've got a population of, say, 1,000 elephants. If we hunt them down to 5 or 6 and then they regrow their population, they're going to have a much lower genetic variation than if we'd left them having their original 1,000 population. So in review, genetic drift is just the passing of genes due to chance. There's a bit of luck involved. And the two examples we need to know are genetic drift and the bottleneck effect and the founder effect. And again, genetic drift, we know, has a much greater impact on smaller populations when compared to large populations. So I hope this video helped. Again, it's just one of our drivers of evolution.